Welcome to this video on office procedures based on the Manual of Office Procedures 2010, revised and updated by the Nagaland Civil Secretariat. This video will focus on records management. Let's first understand what is records management. Records management covers activities concerning recording, retention, retrieval, and weeding out. Each record creating agency will nominate a departmental records officer who is not below the level of a section officer for overall records management. Files should be recorded after action on the issues considered have been completed. Files containing papers or little reference or research, such as casual leave records or those of temporary nature, may be destroyed after 1 year without being formally recorded. In this video, we will further understand procedures for recording, which will include actions for recording and actions on recorded files, categorization and indexing, record retention schedules, custody of records, review and weeding out of records, and requisitioning of records. Let's begin with procedures for recording, actions for recording. The dealing hand in consultation with the supervisory officer should close and record the file in this manner. First, indicate appropriate category of record, as will be shared ahead in the video. And in case of category C, specify the retention period and the year of destruction on the file cover. Where necessary, revise the title of the file so that it describes adequately the contents at that stage. Get the file indexed unless it is to be retained for less than 10 years from the date of closing. Extract from the file copies of important decisions, etc., and add them to the precedent book. Remove from the file all superfluous papers such as rough drafts, working sheets, and destroy them. Mark previous and later references on the file cover. Then pass on the file to the record assistant. Actions to be taken on recorded files. The record assistant will complete columns 2, 4, and 5 as indicated in Appendix 23 of the Manual of Office Procedures. Write the word recorded prominently in red ink across entries in the file movement register. Indicate the page numbers and other references in ink. Indicate the year of review on the file cover in respect of category C files. Prepare fresh covers where necessary, with all the entries already made thereon. Hand over the file to the peon or daftari. The daftari or peon will repair the damaged papers, if any, stitch the file, and show it to the record assistant for making entries in the register for watching progress of recording. We'll now look at categorization and indexing. Let's start with categorization of records. Category A, meaning keep and microfilm. This categorization will be adopted for files which qualify for permanent preservation for administrative purposes and which have to be microfilmed because they contain a document so precious that its original must be preserved intact and access to it in the original form must be restricted to the barest minimum, or material that is likely to be required for frequent reference by different parties, or files of historical importance such as those listed in Part B of Appendix 24 of the manual. Category B, meaning keep but do not microfilm. This category will cover files required for permanent preservation for administrative purposes such as those listed in Part A of Appendix 24 in the manual. It will, however, exclude the nature of material falling under the category described in the previous slide and therefore need not be microfilmed. Category C, meaning keep for specified period only. This category will include files of secondary importance and having reference value for a limited period not exceeding 10 years. In exceptional cases, if the record is required to be retained beyond 10 years, it will be upgraded to B category. Only files of category A and B will be indexed in the following manner. While preparing a file for record, the dealing hand or the branch assistant will underline the index head, that is, the standard head or the most important catchword in the standard head, which will naturally occur to any official searching for the file and which will determine the position of the relevant index slip in the consolidated index, and the index subhead, that is, the catchword or catchwords in the standard subheads, and or the content of the title, which will give a further and more specific clue to the file under search. Where the functional filing system is followed, files need not be indexed under the basic, primary, secondary, and tertiary heads for which the classification scheme itself will provide the master index. However, such files will have to be indexed under the catchwords used in the content part of the title, which falls outside the standardized headings. After index heads and subheads in the title have been approved by the section officer or branch functionary, the record assistant or branch assistant will type out in duplicate as many index slips as there are index heads and subheads underlined in the title, distinguish the index heads from the subheads by typing the former in capital letters, indicate at the top of the index slips all the heads and subheads mentioned in the title, one below the other, followed by the complete title of the file and the file number as per specimens in Appendix 25 of the manual. Allot a pair of slips to each index head and subhead by scoring out entries relating to the others as per specimens in Appendix 25 of the manual. Arrange the index slips in two sets, one in alphabetical order of the heads or subhead for use in the branch, and the other in the sequence of file numbers for the use of the compiler of the departmental index. Keep each set of a paper index slips in separate spring clip folders for each year, and indicate the date of indexing on the file cover and initial it in the space provided for the purpose. Index slips will normally be typed on good quality paper. In the case of important files requiring frequent and urgent reference, however, card indexes could also be prepared. Even here, the duplicate set meant for incorporation in the departmental index will be typed on good quality paper. Card indexes, where maintained, will be kept according to an alphabetical order of their respective catchwords in a single series for all the years. Each department will issue departmental instructions specifying the categories of files in respect of which card indexes will be maintained. To ensure consistency and facilitate consolidation of departmental index, files relating to parliamentary business will be indexed not only under the appropriate standard heads and subheads, but also under the nature of such business. Example: assembly questions, cut motion resolutions, etc. Index slips will remain in the custody of the record assistant. After all the files relating to a year have been recorded, the set of index slips in respect of that year meant for use within the branch that are arranged in alphabetical order will be neatly stitched and the stitched compilation kept at a convenient place for reference by all concerned. The index slips pertaining to files relating to a year will be sent to the compiler of the departmental index 1 year after the close of the year to which they relate. If some files of that year still remain current even at the time of sending the index slips as envisaged in the previous slide, the dealing hand, with the approval of the section officer, will prepare index slips in respect of such files as are likely to be retained for 10 years or more from the date of recording. These will also be added to the set of slips being sent to the compiler of the departmental index. Following this, the compiler will edit the index slips by first allowing the full title to appear only on main index slips, scoring out the title on the subsidiary index slips, arrange the index slips received from different branch in alphabetical order in a single series for the whole department, arrange for printing or cyclostyling of the consolidated departmental index for each year. Let's now look at the precedent book. The precedent book. Every branch will maintain a precedent book in the prescribed form, as mentioned in Appendix 26 of the manual, for keeping note of the important rulings and decisions having a precedent value for ready reference. Entries in this record will be made at the earliest opportunity and, in any case, at the stage of recording the file. We now look at the record retention schedule. To ensure that files are neither prematurely destroyed nor kept for periods longer than necessary, every department will, in respect of records connected with accounts, observe the instructions contained in Appendix 13 to the General Financial Rules. In respect of records relating to establishment, personnel, and housekeeping matters common to all departments, follow the schedule of periods of retention for records common to all departments issued by the Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms. In respect of records prescribed in this manual, observe the retention period specified in Appendix 27 of the manual, and, in respect of records connected with its substantive functions, issue a departmental retention schedule prescribing the periods for which files dealing with specified subjects should be preserved in consultation with the record cell. We'll now look at custody of records. Recorded files will be kept serially arranged in the sections or branches concerned for not more than 1 year, after which they will be transferred to the departmental record room. For files due for such transfer, the register at Appendix 23 in the manual will be consulted. In the event of transfer of work from one branch to another, the relevant files also will be transferred after being listed in duplicate in the form in Appendix 28 of the manual. One copy of this list will be retained by the branch taking over the files for its record, and other acknowledged and returned to the branch transferring them. Files transferred by a branch to the departmental record room will be accompanied by a list of files as shown in Appendix 28 in the manual in duplicate. The departmental record room will verify that all the files mentioned in the list have been received, retain one copy of the list, and return the other, duly signed, to the branch concerned In the record room, these lists will be kept section wise in separate file covers. The departmental record room will maintain a record review register in which a few pages will be allotted for each future year, as shown in Appendix 29 of the manual. Class C files marked for review in a particular year will be entered in the pages earmarked for that year in the register. Files surviving the review undertaken on their attaining the 25th year of life will be stamped prominently as transferred to record cell and retired to the record cell. Files transferred to the record cell will be accompanied by a list in triplicate, one copy of which will be returned by the record cell, duly signed, to the departmental record room. Record rooms will be properly ventilated with adequate lighting and fire safety equipment and avoid exposure to moisture. The records will be arranged serially, section wise, and will be regularly dusted. For proper preservation, the records will be periodically fumigated and mothballs will be used. In a computerized environment, it would be useful to maintain lists of records in electronic form in the departmental record room. Let us look at review and weeding out of records. A category C file will be reviewed on the expiry of the specified retention period and weeded out unless there are sufficient grounds warranting its further retention. Justification for retaining a file after review will be recorded on the file with the approval of branch officer. Retention after a review will be for a period not exceeding 10 years, including the period already retained. If a file was originally retained for a period of 10 years, any further retention will require upgradation of the category. Category A and B files will be reviewed on attaining the 25th year of their life in consultation with the record cell. In these reviews, the need for revising the original categorization of Category B files may also be considered. The year of review of Category C files be reckoned with reference to the year of their closing, and that for Category A and Category B files with reference to the year of their opening. Beginning in January of each year, the departmental record room will send to the sections or branches concerned the files due for review in that year, together with a list of files in the form at Appendix 30 in the manual, in four lots in January, April, July, and September. Files received for review will be examined by or under the direction of the section officer or the branch functionary concerned, and those files which are no longer required will be marked for destruction. Other files may be marked for further retention as given in subparas 2 and 3 in this chapter. It may, however, be ensured that in case an inquiry has been initiated departmentally or by a commission of inquiry, or as a result of court proceedings having a bearing on the subject matter contained in the files or documents concerned, or the files or documents which are required in connection with the implementation of order or judgment of any court of law, such files or documents will not be destroyed, even if such files or documents have completed their prescribed life as per the record retention schedule. Files or documents referred to on the previous slide may be destroyed only after submission of the report by the Commission or completion of inquiry or implementation of the judgment or order of the court with the approval of the concerned secretary, head of the department concerned. In case the implementation of the court order has been challenged or appealed against, either by the government or by the applicant in a higher court, the concerned files or documents will not be weeded until such time the appeal or challenge is considered and finally decided. In such cases, the limitation period described for appeals should also be kept in mind. After review, the record assistant or branch assistant will make entries of revised categorization or retention in the file registers and return them to the departmental record room along with the list as shown in Appendix 30 of the manual after completing column 3 thereof. The departmental record room, under the supervision of departmental record officer, will transfer category A and B files surviving the review undertaken at the 25th year of their life above to the record cell. In the case of other files, destroy those marked for destruction after completing column 4 of the list of files as shown in Appendix 28 in the manual, and restore the rest, that is, those marked for further retention, to the departmental record stacks after making the required entries in the record review register in the case of category C files. Records not falling within the definition of file, for example, publications, spare copies of circulars, orders, etc., will also be subjected to periodic reviews at suitable intervals, and those no longer needed should be weeded out. To facilitate such reviews, each section will maintain a register in the form as shown in Appendix 31 of the manual. Considering the urgency to reduce the volume of records now being retained without any significant need for their retention, the following measures may be taken in the departments. A special drive may be launched every 6 months to record or review all old files and to weed out those no longer needed. The results of such special drives will be sent to P and AR in the proforma shown in Appendix 32 of the manual. Each joint secretary may review every quarter the state of indexing, recording, review, weeding out of files in his wing and allot time bound tasks towards this and to the members of the staff. Inspecting officers may be asked to pay special attention to the stage of records management in the sections as well as the departmental records room during their inspections. The following manner of weeding destruction or records will be adopted. Routine files or records will be manually torn into small pieces and disposed. Classified files or records will be destroyed by use of a shredder, and secret files records will also be incinerated after being shredded as per provision under departmental security instructions issued by the Home Department. Let's finally look at requisitioning of records. No recorded file will be issued from the sectional, departmental, or archival records except against a signed requisition in form prescribed under Public Records Act 1993 in the case of archival records, and in the form at Appendix 33 in the manual in the case of other records. Requisitions for files belonging to other departments and in the custody of the record cell will be endorsed by the department concerned before they are sent to the record cell. If the requisition file happens to be a confidential one, the record cell will not supply the file direct to the requisitioning department but route it through the department to which it belongs. The requisition will be kept in the place of the file issue. If the requisition file is one that has been microfilmed or printed, normally a microfilmed or printed copy and not the original will be issued to the requisitioning department. If a requisition file initially obtained for being put up in one case is subsequently put up on another, a fresh requisition should be given to the section daftari or sent to the departmental record room or the record cell, as the case may be, for replacing the original requisition, which will be returned to the office concerned. In the case of records obtained from the record cell, the fresh requisition slip will be prominently marked change slip. On return, the requisition file will be restored to its place and the requisition returned to the branch or official concerned. Files obtained by a branch from the departmental record room will be normally returned within 3 months. If they are not received back within this period, the departmental record room will remind the branch concerned. For this purpose, the record room will maintain a simple register for keeping a record of the files issued to the various branches each month. A similar register will be maintained by each branch as a record of files borrowed from it by other branches. Files obtained by a department from the record cell will not normally be retained for more than 6 months, except with the latter's specific knowledge and consent. This brings us to the end of. Thank you for watching this video on office procedures based on the Manual of Office Procedures 2010, revised and updated by the Nagaland Civil Secretariat.